All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I call to order the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners Business Meeting this September 17th, 2015. I would ask our Deputy County Administrator, Laurel Buttman, to take the roll call.
Thank you, Chair Ludlow. First, I'd like to introduce Chris Story, sitting in for County Council this evening, and to my left, Mary Rathke, Clerk to the Board. And the roll call, Commissioner Reynolds.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Here.
And Chair Ludlow.
Here, would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? There's no comma after nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the first order of business, I'll recess as a Board of County Commissioners and reconvene as a Housing Authority Board for the next item. So I'd like to introduce the Housing Authority Commissioner, Mr. Paul Reynolds, to my right.
Thank you.
He'll be here for this item. I'll ask the clerk to read the Housing Authority consent agenda by title.
Okay, there's one item on the Housing Authority consent agenda in the matter of writing off uncollectible accounts for the first quarter of fiscal year 2016.
All right. Well, Commissioners, if you have any problem with that, us continuing with that, you have the option to pull that. I assume you will not, so I ask for a motion.
I move we approve the Housing Authority consent agenda.
Second.
And the motion by Commissioner Reynolds, seconded by Commissioner Schrader. Any further discussion? I'll ask the clerk to call the poll.
Commissioner Reynolds?
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader?
Aye.
Commissioner Savas?
Aye.
Chair Ludlow?
Aye, passes 4-0. Announce the board will adjourn as the Housing Authority, reconvene as the County Commissioners. Thank you, Commissioner Reynolds. Appreciate you coming in for that short item.
Thank you for coming.
And now we have a presentation. Laura, would you like to introduce that?
Absolutely. I'd be delighted to introduce this presentation. We are celebrating the close of the county's very first Citizens Academy. Over the course of the past 6 months, over 40 county employees have shared their work experience and educated our 21-member Academy cohort about the county's diverse services. I had the honor of attending every session of the Academy. Our participants from the community have been inquisitive and a pleasure to spend time with. I'll miss our regular monthly get-togethers. I cannot turn this presentation over to Tracy Moreland from Public and Government Affairs without a word of thanks and acknowledgement to Tracy. Tracy, you organized it all and made sure each session was informative and smoothly run. Your work set a high bar for all our academies to come, and I know that this academy's participants benefited greatly from your steady hand and responsiveness to their needs. Thank you. And it's yours to present.
Thank you, Laurel, very much. I appreciate that. Good evening, Commissioners. Tracy Moreland from Public and Government Affairs, here today to help recognize graduates from the very first Clackamas County Citizen Academy. Just a little bit of background about the Academy. In 2012, a group from the county's Leadership Academy program created a proposal for a Citizen Academy as their group project, and they presented it to county administration as an idea to increase citizen involvement. The idea grew from discussions about the need to provide a means for better understanding of county operations and services, provide a forum for individuals to ask questions and give feedback, and learn about ways they can get involved. Quickly, I just wanted to mention that the original Leadership Academy group members who created this proposal are Mike Besner from DTD, Michelle Barrera from the Juvenile Department, and Marcus Mendoza, who is from the Sheriff's Department, and Deputy Mendoza is here today, and I wonder if he could stand really quickly and just be acknowledged by the board for creating this idea with his colleagues.
Well done.
Thank you, Deputy Mendoza. So planning began for the Citizen Academy in January of this year, and after the application process was completed, we ended up with a cohort of 21 participants from really diverse backgrounds and a wide range of county communities and cities. The group attended sessions once a month for 6 months, focusing on different county departments and services. Sessions consisted of presentations from staff, tours of county facilities, and some of our cable video productions. The first session in April was an introduction to county government, and it was followed by meetings in different county locations. So in May, we had a DTD session, and we met at the Roads Department and toured the facilities there at Abernathy. We met the next month at the Tri-City water treatment plant, and we also had a whole evening devoted to public safety where we toured the jail. And we also met at Milwaukee Center. And finally, last night, we met at the Centerstone Clinic and learned all about H3S services and programs. So it's really been a pleasure to get to know all these folks here, and I want to thank them for their participation and feedback. Our hope is that as we continue to work together and support their continued citizen involvement interests, wherever those interests might lie in the county, we're available to help them pursue what they found inspirational about being participants. We do have certificates for those who could be here tonight, but before we present those, a couple of Academy members offered to share with you a little bit about their experience, and I'd like to call 2 folks up to our visitor table. There's Mike Sabula from Clackamas and Erica Kane from the Canby area.
Did you know you were going to be called up? I hope you did, right?
Well, first I'd like to thank Laurel
Pull that
and
microphone up a little closer to you.
Laurel and Tracy.
Thank
How's that?
Yeah.
Good. Who presented just an amazing program. And so thank you both for all your hard work and your support of our learning about the county. And I'd also like to thank all the employees who came and after work and took the time to speak with us and educate us about what the county does. What I learned, wow. The county is where work gets done. I mean, it is extraordinary what we learned about the services, the projects, everything that the county provides to citizens, and how many people are touched by what the county does. I mean, I drive on the roads every day, so I know I am. But the real specifics and details. You know, I was especially impressed by the bridge crew that has over 200 bridges to maintain. You know, a small crew, and yet hardworking, dedicated people. And that's what I really found listening to the employees every month was how grateful I am to have these employees, you know, working for Clackamas County. They're competent, they're dedicated. You know, most of them have been here. I was amazed how many had been here for, you know, decades working for the county. So it's clearly a great place to work. They're professional. They put their heart into what they do. And I'm just really grateful to have gotten an in-depth look about what Clackamas County government does. So thank you.
Well said.
Tough act to follow.
Yeah.
My name is Mike Zabula. I've been a county resident for over 23 years. I was a participant in the Sheriff's Office Citizens Academy, and I understood the value of that program. And so when I saw this program available at the website, I jumped at the opportunity to apply and was pleased that I was selected, so thank you for that. The first night set the tone for the entire time we were together. And those are words from your diversity chairman, or person leading diversity, Emmett. And he talked about equity and inclusion and how important that was in Clackamas County, as diverse as our county is, both geographically and with our population. And we saw that each month when we got together with the different departments. We learned that the county is moving towards more of a business model. We learned that through our first meeting, the use of metrics. Metrics that will be made available to the public to show how different departments are doing on exceeding or not reaching their goals. We got to experience firsthand the passion of the county employees, of the county departments, of the county managers. We learned each step of the way, in each element of the program. I think that you hit it on the head when you talked about longevity, interest, passion. The people that we met are all committed to the county. They're not only committed to the county and to the citizen and to the citizens that they serve. They truly are public servants. And I think that was brought home also on the first night when the county administrator gave us a cell number. Call me if you have any questions. So thank you, commissioners, for offering this program this year. I encourage you to do it again, and thank you.
Well said.
Thank you both very much. And so, Mr. Chair, I'd be pleased to present the certificates with the help of our Deputy County Administrator to the folks who are able to be here tonight. And I would call you up and ask you to collect your certificate with Laurel. So we'll start with Erica and Mike, followed by Danielle Curry. Danielle lives in Portland, the Clackamas County portion of Portland. Sue Hine, she's from Sandy. Lindsay Davis, I'm not sure if Lindsay was here. Piseth Pish from Wilsonville. Terry Compton, who lives in West Lynn. Susan Steigers from Milwaukee. Susan's not here. Oh, she is. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't see you, apologize. Patricia Jarrett from Oregon City. And Joel Bergman from Milwaukee. Pamela Ashland from Rhododendron. Chris Gifford, also from Rhododendron. Leanna Kennedy from Gladstone. And Julie Welling from Oregon City. So these are the folks who could be here tonight.
Tracy, did you bring your camera?
Yes, if we could have a photo.
Yeah, why don't you all come up here in the front and we'll have a little photo op.
All right. It's looking good, a little closer.
You want to move up?
If you can't see the camera camera can't see you. All right.
Okay,
Big cheesy grins, you guys.
let's see. That looks really good. I'll take a couple. And one more. Thank you all.
There you go. And congratulations to you all for graduating from our Citizens Academy. Wilsonville guy, huh? I like that. I'm pretty darn sure we're going to offer this next year, so tell your friends to apply. The more the merrier. Thank you. And now it's time for citizens' communication. I'll call forward Mr. Les Poole.
That was a great presentation, and I wish they would have had that opportunity when I got involved. Would have made life easier. So I certainly encourage you to do it next time around. And I know we'll be hearing from these folks up here. They'll be coming in to harass the commissioners in the future. On a serious note, last night on my way home, I got behind that fatal accident on Powell. And it's really tragic to see someone crash into a pole, and next thing you know, their life is over. And ironically, in the diversion, I found myself on Clinton Street. And all of a sudden, there I was looking at 41st and Clinton, where all those trees we've been hearing about in Portland have been cut down, and the neighbors are very upset. And it's for infill. And people hear me talk about Metro and talk about, what are we really doing here? And this is an opportunity to share a message. It's real simple. We're going to live closer together. No one's opposed to that. We can't just sprawl. Everyone can't have a quarter of an acre or half an acre. But what is being planned in the metro area right now by Metro will destroy and is destroying the livability of the region. You cannot cut down all the trees in an area that needs a place for water to go and jam 3 or 4 houses in place of one. The density that's being imposed on the region is going to kill livability. It's going to destroy what we're here for. And I can tell you that all of the fantasies that are in Metro's current plan to somehow put 400,000 people inside the current boundary is something that I don't think any of them could walk up here tomorrow or tonight and give any reasonable explanation how that's going to happen. What's that really going to cost? We're still unresolved with Stafford. It is time for you folks to be managing the growth boundary. And then you're held accountable, but you're making decisions that are local, that are closer. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. It's time to rein in Metro. Now, there are some people that will run up and defend it. Hopefully someday we can debate that. But the track record for projections, population projections, the grandiose plan for Damascus and their attempt to micromanage what happened there, and now the city's crumbling apart. Metro needs to be addressed. And I hope that citizens will come in and talk on that. And anyone that disagrees with me, by all means, you're welcome to come and let's have a conversation. I appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
Thank you. And now it's a consent agenda. I'll ask the clerk to read the consent agenda by title.
Okay, the consent agenda. Under Health, Housing, and Human Services, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Estacada School District for the Teen Mentor Program. A board order approving the mental health director's designee to authorize a custody hold under ORS 426233. Approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Portland State University for trauma-informed care training and consulting. Under elected officials, approval of previous business meeting minutes. Under community corrections, approval of an intergovernmental agreement number 5110 with the State of Oregon Department of Corrections for the 2015-2017 grant in aid funding of Clackamas County Community Correction Programs, and approval of an intergovernmental agreement number 5155 with the State of Oregon Department of Corrections for the 2015-2017 Measure 57 supplemental funds for Clackamas County Community Correction Programs. That concludes the consent agenda, but I'd also like to show the slide and remind folks that if they ever want to see more information on these items, they can visit our website at www.clackamas.us/BCC business meeting.
All right, well said, thank you. And I'll ask the commissioners if they wish to remove any of these items. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Savas, seconded by Commissioner Schrader. Any further discussion? All right, Mary, the poll.
Commissioner Schrader? Aye. Commissioner Savas?
Aye.
Chair Ludlow?
Aye. Let me point out, by the way, passes 3-0. is that two of our commissioners are meeting, but they're actually doing commission work. They're lobbying back in D.C., and all of us go back there every year at different times. But the business of the county must go on, and what's interesting about it is that by code, it takes 3 commissioners to pass any business. So we all got to agree today or nothing happens. And we're doing well, by the way. So anyway, it's time for in this case, the Deputy County Administrator update. Laurel?
Thank you, Commissioners. First, I'd like to remind folks that we have a schedule change for our next board business meeting. Next week, we meet at 6 o'clock in the evening instead of our usual 10 a.m. morning time. And now for some good news, I have 3 updates for you. Yesterday, county employees from line staff to the executive level and county elected officials participated in a visit from Greg Taylor, who is the founder and owner of Community Connection Consulting. As a consultant, Taylor works on issues related to equity and social justice from multicultural perspectives. He also currently serves on the Renton, Washington City Council. This was a day of training that helps our employees and elected officials put into practice the goals of our county diversity resolution to embrace diversity in our community and our workforce and to promote equity and inclusion in the services that the county provides. Also, the Clackamas County Cable Division has yet again been recognized for its exceptional work at the annual Government Programming Awards ceremony held last week in San Diego by the National Association of Telecommunications Officers. Our channel and its video productions were recognized for 10 separate awards. Leading the way was our documentary on the 1964 Christmas flood, which took first place for the documentary event coverage category. Also recognized were a documentary on the Canby Ferry, our Community Impact Award Series, and the live coverage of the State of a County event. You all know that these are just the latest in a long string of national honors that the Cable Division has received. And congratulations to the Cable Office. Finally, last weekend saw the opening of the MAX Orange Line. The county sponsored the grand opening of the Park Avenue Station in Oak Grove. Many county booths showcase the services and programs the county offers its residents and visitors. All in all, riders made an estimated 40,000 trips on the Orange Line on Saturday, tying the opening of the MAX Green Line back in 2009. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Now it's time for Commissioners' communication. I'll start with Commissioner Savas.
I had an opportunity Saturday night to spend the time with some of our search and rescue folks who volunteer their time, and I always try to give them a shout out, especially around the holidays and Thanksgiving or around Christmas time, when usually there's an event or two up in the mountain where they're trying to rescue someone and people are in serious harm's way or being rescued. And you know, while we're at home sometimes during the holidays and we're thinking about our families and getting together in a warm, cozy environment, those folks are up there on their own time, often just as volunteers to try and help others in desperate need. About 3 weeks ago, I spent an evening graveyard shift with the Clackamas County Sheriff Deputy and did a ride-along with the Sheriff Deputies and got to see what they do. Firsthand. It was really the second or the first time I did a complete shift. I think the first time I did a ride along was with when we did the alcohol ordinance thing, or prior to doing the alcohol ordinance at the park, and we spent an afternoon out there at the park when a lot of chaos was happening. So this one I was really around patrol. It's basically with the patrol guys, and got a lot of interesting feedback and saw a lot of interaction between other law enforcement jurisdictions that work with the county closely and also recognize that maybe some don't. And I, was asking questions and what is it that we can do to make their life easier or be more helpful? And I think the number one thing I heard that evening, 2 things. Number one thing I heard was having a place, especially in the wee hours of night, to find help, mental health help for some of these people that are in need. And in the late wee hours, there is no place that we currently take those folks. So that was one thing that they mentioned, and we've heard that before. The second thing that I discovered, I not necessarily hear this so much I discovered it, is that that night we worked really well with the Gladstone. we toured the area, or not toured, but the patrol area that I was in was in the the Oak Grove, Gladstone, unincorporated area. And Gladstone's got their own police department. So Oak Lodge, Jennings Lodge. And we had a lot of interaction with Gladstone. They would do backup, we'd help them, and Oregon City as well. and other communities, but the whole night, after the shift was pretty much over, the whole night I realized we had not communicated with Milwaukee. And I asked about that. Well, geez, we're not really seeing any calls. We're not seeing much interaction with Milwaukee. And I discovered that they're on a different channel, and they don't work together as closely as we do the other jurisdictions. And yet, what I was approached about almost all night, it seemed like, from different deputies when there was backup and we were outstanding at a particular situation, was a lot of questions about light rail and a lot of concerns about how we're going to deal with that in the future. And I really thought it's probably important for us maybe to bring it up as an agenda item, as maybe some better integration or collaboration or sharing of information with the city of Milwaukee, knowing that the Park Avenue station really is on the edge of Milwaukee in this area. And it seems to me we ought to have better integration. That's something I wasn't called the sheriff about or meet with the sheriff and talk about, but perhaps that's something we can chat about. But again, I want to do a shout out to those rescue people that do that, and also all our volunteers. We had some volunteers here tonight, and we volunteers in so many different fashions. So I just always want to do a shout out and a thank you to all of them. And that's what I have for this evening.
All right, Commissioner Schrader.
Well, actually, Commissioner Savas, I'm glad you mentioned public safety, because one of the things on our consent agenda tonight, as I was reviewing it before I came here this evening, that basically we have a woman who has a master's in social work, who is a member of our Clackamas County Behavioral Health Division, and she is a designee on behalf of our Behavioral Health Division Director, who is authorized to direct a peace officer to take a person into custody and remove the person to a hospital or non-hospital facility approved by the Oregon Mental Health and Developmental Disability Services Division. And this is one of the issues we face in this county, is that sometimes folks are having breakdowns. It really is a mental health issue. And one of the things that we try to do is prevent them from spending the night in jail, but actually trying to move folks to an appropriate place. And one of the things this county has done well and done differently is that we have mental health professionals embedded, working with our police officers, our peace officers, our sheriff's folks, to help assess and get people to a different spot where they can get appropriate mental health services. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Commissioner. I think that's a key piece of the work that the county does. Other than that, some fun things. Well, I had the opportunity last night to be inducted on the board of the Lakewood Center of the Arts, which is really a fun thing because I love the theater. So I wanted to let people know that they now have going on at the theater Anything Goes from September 11th through October 18th at the Lakewood Center for the Arts. And it is a wonderful Cole Porter musical, and if you recognize some of the music, I think that one of the more famous songs is Anything Goes. Not to forget our other Clackamas County theater group, we have Clackamas Repertory Theater. They also do wonderful, wonderful theater presentations, and they are at Clackamas Community College in that repertory theater, and they playing there now is One Man, Two Governors, written by Richard Bean. So if you like the arts and you like theater, we have some really wonderful things going on in here, and I'm very excited as a county commissioner to get more involved in the those programs. A couple of other things, I was so pleased to find out that I do some work with our National Association of Counties at the federal level, or at the, when we go to DC and we have our conferences. And I basically am now the subcommittee chair of economic development on the Community Economic and Workforce Development Steering Committee. So what does that mean for our county? What that means is that we will not only advocate for economic development locally, but at the national level, when we see issues arising that we can help to bring prosperity to our citizens, we can advocate for that. And this county in particular has one of the best economic development staffs, I believe, in the state. And so hopefully part of my plan is to have them present to other counties so they can show, we can talk about what really works in economic development, what those best practices are, and kind of get some kudos nationally for the good work that we do here in Clackamas County. I also wanted to mention I had an opportunity to go to the Founders Recognition event. This is the Willamette Falls Heritage Foundation folks, and those are the folks, this was this past, I want to say Wednesday night, I believe, and these are the folks that worked to make sure that the Willamette Falls Heritage Area, where obviously our beautiful big falls are, is now a state heritage site, and they continue to work to at the federal level to make it one of the first nationally recognized federal heritage sites west of the Mississippi. They have a lot of them on the East Coast, but we're pushing real hard to have a national heritage site be the first here at the end of the Oregon Trail on the western side of the United States of America. One last thing, I did attend today with my colleagues. We went to visit Vigor Industrial, Oregon Iron Works. It was a business visit, and what we normally do on those visits is our staff comes with us and we ask the businesses directly, what do you need from the county? What are your workforce needs? How is transportation working for you? What can we do as elected officials and with county staff to make sure that your business can stay here and thrive in Clackamas County? So that was a fun piece of the afternoon. So anyway. Oh, I'm forgetting one more thing. I have the dog person tonight.
All right.
So I'll make this quick. So, there's that. How can you not love that face? So this is lovely Ladybug. She is a mature lady with plenty of pep and a friendly nature. Her tail wags when meeting new people. She likes doggy treats and will sit or lay down when asked. Her perky ears are listening for visitors, and she hopes to see you soon. For more information about Ladybug and other adoptable dogs, please contact Clackamas County Dog Services at 503-655-8628 or www.clackamas.us/dogs. So there we
How do you
go.
follow and act like that,
I don't
right?
know.
What a
All
face.
that and a bag of chips, right?
Well, it should be known that Martha has two big back dogs, and they lay on her lap, but I wouldn't want them on mine. They're big. Well, I had the privilege, I'm the liaison to the Fair Board, and so I attended their meeting last week where they went over the numbers, and I'm proud to report that they had a record attendance compared to last year. So again, kudos to them. And what's really great is Raylene, one of the board members for a long, long time, always cooks a great pie. This time it was apricot pie. It was very good. On Sunday, my wife and I participated in doing the registration and actually on the river, down the river cleanup. This is where hundreds of volunteers come in, and they actually broke them up this year. Had a group starting at McIver, had a group starting at Barton, which is what we did, had a group starting at Carver and Riverside Parks. It was more of the river to clean up, but it certainly didn't seem as dirty this year as before. I was glad to see Clackamas Fire out there, AMR out there, and the Clackamas Fire guys had dry suits, so they're diving for cans, and they brought up a ton of them, I'll say that. So we were the big collection garbage scow. So that people would give us their bags, and we had just an incredible amount of, usually it's cans, and beer cans at that, by the way. But it was great fun. What a great bunch of volunteers to put that on every year. I think they're in their 11th year of doing that. Went to the AOC on Monday. The Association of Oregon Counties is a very important group to us because aggregately, when put together, all these commissioners giving their opinion to the state of Oregon does make a difference. Sometimes even changes the state's minds, sometimes. As mentioned, Greg Taylor was in for a diversity lunch with us this week. Very good speaker. I think like Patrice Collins, another doctor who came in and talked to us the previous year, ended it with something similar. They said, each of us will make mistakes when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, but not to be dismayed by that and to continue going forward with all of our learning. Martha mentioned that the three of us went to Vigor, Oregon Iron Works. They build some big things, and what they do is they'll assemble these things that they build actually in Clackamas County out at their Vancouver site. And then some of them are so big, they have them taken by rail and even by barge, and then through Panama Canal and all the way over to the East Coast. So it was fascinating information. We have, as mentioned by Laurel, next Thursday is not our regular Thursday evening business meeting, but we've decided to have a public discussion on marijuana. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people here, but that will start at 6 p.m. You know, just briefly, it was mentioned the celebration for the Orange Line. Not everybody celebrated that. There are those, including myself, who oppose that because I think it's an inordinately large waste of money. What it cost, it was in the $1.5 billion range. So over $200 million a mile. And ironically, a mile of that track would pay for the congestion from Abernathy Bridge to Stafford Road, about $250 million. Yet, Metro continues to think, and TriMet, that it should be trains, not lanes. For those of you who drive our freeways, and I know you do, can't you see in the last year and a half, 2 years, what's been happening out there? It's getting worse and worse and worse. And yet, again, a disproportionately large amount of money is being put towards mass transit. I don't mind the buses, particularly because they're cost-effective, inexpensive, and they transport a lot of people, and they can change the route anytime they want. Whereas, the line, known as the Orange Line, goes in one straight line, and it's a hallelujah and a wonderful new bridge that costs an incredible amount of money. A lot of us here in Clackamas County don't agree with that. And fortunately, there's been a measure passed that made it so that Clackamas County has to vote in this very expensive train in the future. I don't think there'll be much of that. What's interesting is how the Orange Line was paid for. For 33 years, the Clackamas Regional Center, Urban Renewal District around Clackamas Town Center, did not pay taxes into the coffers to pay for schools, police, fire, library, and parks. Instead, it went to pay for the debt collected or expended in that area for improvements. Now, that's great. You think after 33 years we can have that money back for those very important taxing districts, including ourselves, by the way. And we were due to receive a large amount of money yearly. Instead, the previous commission voted to send that money in as bond payments, again, to pay for the Orange Line. So for over 50 years, we, Clackamas County, will not be able to collect the money that is due us in that Clackamas Regional Center. 50 years of taking that money away from us. So I think that was wrong-headedness. That said, we have an announcement to make in regards to next week, our town halls. And so next week, the topic will be ensure safe and healthy communities. It will be on the 22nd, which is Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. And it'll be at the Canby Fairgrounds. So we're going back there. Of course, there's no admission. It's free. And then the final one of the year is the topic honor, utilize, promote, and invest in our natural resources. That'll be held most appropriately in Welch's, the Resort at the Mountain, Wednesday, October 28th, 2015 at 6 p.m. So I've appreciated you all sticking around. Why are you folks volunteering? You stick around and watch, but you got to admit this is a short meeting, right? This is good stuff. They don't often end this way. I see the celebration in the back. Stop that. Yeah. All right. There being no further business before the commission this day, ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is adjourned.